5 is 9. A lot of action going on right now in terms of trading.
All right, we're live right now. Jerry Jones just made the official drop. We will bring somebody in on top of DeMar being overshown. Something about sending in 2 more trades as of tomorrow. That's what he just said to Stephen A.
So what are you trying to say? Somebody out there might be a cowboy. That's all we need to know.
What's up, Black Ops?
Is the trade that you made and the trade that you're about to make, what are you trying to say that's going to do for the Dallas Cowboys this year? Immediately, it will have them on the field, and it will address some of the things that have been our shortcomings. Now, that's a milk toast answer.
Immediately, it will address some of the things that have been our shortcomings. Can you guys hear me okay?
Not to get too much detail, but it's
Jerry Jones just told Michael Irvin and Stephen A. Smith
and you make your assignment, and all of you shaking
that
your
2
heads,
trades
you
are
know what
coming.
we're talking about. Now, if sometimes you want to go out and just make a big play and abandon your assignment, what does that do to everybody else?
We're here live at Texas Live, the Stephen A. Smith Show, hosting Jerry Jones and Michael Irvin on the set right now. I just came to visit with people in person and then hopefully bring a decent product to you guys. As long as y'all can hear me okay, I'll keep this thing rolling.
We are trying to get players and have players that are getting to where they can be in the right place. That sounds simplistic. You say, my gosh.
And it's not.
They're supposed to be in the right place. Not as easy as
I'll absolutely have a recap. Yes, sir, Connor. And thank you for the check-in on the volume. Darnell, appreciate that.
I know you want to win here.
According to Jerry Jones, that's the case.
But isn't there something about you, Jerry Jones? When you look at the fact that
how much audio, if any, can you catch from
being a businessman that you all say
from Stephen A. and Company?
I want to be that. I want that to be what we hang our hat on.
Appreciate you, Lord Dilly. Thanks for being here, man.
Because it's going to justify exactly what my vision was for this team and what we were capable of doing with that.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
I'm going to answer that question this way. He just asked me, do I want to win? I did not. I said you do want to win. I said you do want to win. I'm talking about the way you said it with a tone that sounded like I needed to answer to all that. That's all right. That's all right. I'll tell you how bad I want to win. When I bought the Dallas Cowboys, I had a certain amount of money, just like we have in our bank account. And I wanted a player to add to our team so bad that I gave him more money than I had when I bought the Dallas Cowboys game. And I sat down with this guy right here. And I said, now, Michael, I'm thinking about bringing such and such in. And I'm going to tell you, it is a lot of money to get it done. Then I visited with Troy and I visited with Emmett to see if they thought. And they said, we think that he could be a real addition to us.
So right now, Jerry is just kind of talking about the things that have happened historically speaking, but the whole set, the whole show, The Greatest Showman, the purpose for that is to tease the trade deadline that happens tomorrow. And Jerry just mentioned that not one, but 2 guys potentially coming in to help this team. And that was after Michael Irvin brought up DeMar being overshown, potentially returning, and then Jerry previously mentioning to open the show that defenses do get better with new coordinators as the season continues on. Cowboys obviously riddled with injury on the secondary, have run fit responsibility issues with the second level, guys not setting the edge on the front line. But there's a clear attempt to make this roster better. The Cowboys clearly have the capability to make this roster better. The most cumulative draft pick capital, as well as salary cap space, cumulatively speaking, number 1. So plenty of resources to make things happen if they so choose. And it sounds like Jerry is choosing not 1 but 2, which is no surprise to anybody who's familiar with this show here.
Got back on the plane, came back to Dallas, and gave Deion Sanders at that time $13 million just to sign the contract. at that time.
So now he's kind of just talking to us about his historical approach to talent acquisition or team building. Kind of talking himself up a little bit about how he hasn't been shy of spending when as it comes to bringing guys in the past. But we've been discussing Stephen Jones' impact on all these things and the adjustments that he's had to make, and also on top of that, not so much the adjustments that he's had to make, but the things that he's saying and backing up what he's saying with those adjustments. 2014 was kind of when Stephen Jones really took over, and he believed in his mind that he could do this thing and sort of outsmart the system. Team build with one of the three main pillars, three pillars of team building: trade deadline, NFL free agency, draft and develop. The Cowboys tried to do it with just one of those three pillars for far too long. It didn't work, and now they're sort of adjusting them. And the reason that we're even bringing that up is because we began discussing in the offseason a change of philosophy. Another example, right? So obviously George Pickens trading what the Cowboys would consider, or at least historically, premium draft capital. Let's walk outside here for a second. What the Cowboys would consider premium draft capital, a day 3 pick for a rental. Because you gotta negotiate with George, or for George Pickens twice. You got to negotiate to acquire him. In this case, from the Steelers, 3rd round draft pick. But then you also got to negotiate with he and his agency, in this case David Mulligetta, to keep him around past one season. Giving up what the Cowboys used to consider premium draft capital for a 1-year rental was a deviation from their historical norm. Jersey sales and the impact that players have beyond just the football field, but more specifically in this particular instance here, jersey sales, or what their impact is, not just in the community, but in the front office's pockets. Those guys have to consider everything, right? So consider the Ezekiel Elliott reacquisition, changing his jersey number so that everybody that previously had his jersey number 21 hanging in their closet, they had to go and get the number 15 as well. That kind of stuff matters, okay? So consider the deviation from their historical norm, not just in what Stephen Jones is saying. You don't hear him say the term, "We like our guys." When's the last time that you heard him say that? It hadn't been this year, okay? Deviation from the historical norm. George Pickens, 1-year expiring contract. Okay, they're gonna keep him around, right? We predicted that on the day that it happened, and a lot of people kind of pushed back on us on that. But we could talk about that more in a second too. But what I'm getting at, Micah Parsons, not a popular discussion, still a sore subject, rightfully so. But whether anybody here wants to admit it or not, whether we see it or not, whether people are talking about it or not, it's not credit to the Joneses. It's just the honest, objective evaluation. Trading Micah Parsons, who obviously clearly had an impact on the fan base, clearly obviously had an impact on the field, but clearly and obviously had an impact on the front office's pockets with jersey sales and things like that. Trading away their best player, their guy, we like our guys, not extending him, we're going to work our way back inside now, is a deviation from their historical norm. So this offense, though, regardless of those things, as we predicted, has left them no choice. They don't have an option to do or to not do anything, to be passive. When you have arguably the best offense in the league, parlayed with arguably the worst defense in the league, you got to go do something about it. Now, to the talking point, the discussion of, okay, one guy, you can't trade for one guy to make it better. It's not just one guy. You can make a trade for more than one player if you want to. But this is free agency that's in play here. There's a couple guys out there, notable names that are familiar with the organization: Eric Kendricks and Stephon Gilmore, and then Asante Samuel Jr., who's now back and healthy again, ready to sign with a potential, a competitor. But then you also got two guys in-house that are highly touted, have the ability to come in and make a difference, make an impact. Then you also have scheme mastery or adjustments. So Matt Eberflus either getting everybody healthy on the back end and figuring things out on the front seven, or making an adjustment to actually blend the system to the personnel as opposed to making the personnel try to fit the system. So there's all that. And we haven't even discussed trade yet. But Jerry Jones just sat up here and told you the trade is in play. And not just one, potentially two. The capital, the resources are there to make the team better, but it's not just trading. We have to broaden our lens, zoom out a little bit. Don't let the trade deadline hyperfixate you on only making the defense better with trades. It is trade, yes. That's the forefront of the discussion now, but it's multifaceted with regard to in-house talent coming back, Savon Rebel Jr., DeMarvion Overshown, free agency that's still out there. You can still go and make a free agent acquisition. But then also, too, you don't have to limit yourself to just one potential trade. If a plethora of players for a larger bundle but with less premium capital makes you better, if it's Minkah Fitzpatrick, Demario Davis, and say Will McDonald versus Max Crosby, there's a decision to make. But the point is, it can be one guy in the trade market. It could be three guys in the trade market. But it's not just limited. This roster isn't limited to getting better with just one particular pillar. The trade deadline stops tomorrow, but free agency doesn't, and neither does in-house talent reacquisition or reacclimation into the system, and then the system in itself improving. Nothing of merit would happen. Okay, well, check back in, and when it does, let us know how you feel after the fact, Kofax.
I've never talked.
Exactly. Yeah. So Go Big says, Lando, who are you thinking?
I've never talked.
I would re-sign Eric Kendricks, Go Big, because the reality is, hate on Matt Eberflus all you want, but there's a linebacker playing the most snaps for this team right now who looks like he shouldn't belong in the NFL to begin with. There are corners who we could say the same thing about. There are edges who we had high hopes for that can't set the edge in the run game.
I don't feel that.
There's a lot of problems, and Eberflus has to make an adjustment in and of itself, but a rising tide can raise all boats here, and especially if that rising tide is the form of a premier player who's a more well-rounded player, even maybe lesser of a pass rusher, but brings more to the table in the run game than even Micah Parsons did because of the length.
I spent a lot of time personally with my.
We'll see what else he's talking about up here. Take a breath for a second.
I'm a brilliant player, but I've always known that we could get 5, 4, 6 really top players on the field tonight.
Now he's talking about Micah Parsons' departure as it pertains to team building. He's saying I've always known that we could have 6 guys versus Micah's 1 for the price of his money. Yeah.
Just enough going on that caused me to go over the other side and start thinking about the pluses over there. And that's how that did.
I had such a light bulb moment last night watching the Saquon Barkley documentary and just what I need to do a better job of, which is discussing the disconnect between player and front office. Front office is almost always solely thinking from a financial perspective, whereas players are thinking, okay, the way that you're going about negotiating, or in this case, on behalf of the financial perspective, are you disrespecting me? Are you handling the situation the way that I believe that you should be? Are you talking about me and valuing me in the discussion in the same light, holding me to the same caliber, to the same tier of the rest of the league as you should? Saquon Barkley thinks that because the Giants ownership didn't offer him an extra $1.5 million that they're disrespecting him. It's not that they're disrespecting him. They love Saquon and the impact that he had on the Giants, their organization, and for their jersey sales. But the point is that's the most oft-injured position in sports at running back, right? And then also the ownership, it's done a salary cap thing. It's stretching the money from a pockets thing, because when you're paying free agents, that money is hard physical financial capital directly into the pockets of players. That's real assets. That's bank-to-bank, cash-to-cash.
Training camp, I was
No impact or no bearing whatsoever on the salary cap itself. It's two completely separate entities. So we'll hone in on that discussion more so in the very near future. Y'all just remind me, talk about how Saquon Barkley proves that there's a misnomer. DeMarcus Ware. Dude looks like he could still play, by the way. Demario Davis is third in the National Football League in tackles at 36 years old. And by the way, the Saints and the Cowboys organizations, their front offices, Mickey Loomis, he's got a relationship with the Cowboys, so I can see that a little bit. Let's see what DeMarcus Ware has to say. 54 people in here right now, so y'all make sure you hit the like button for me.
At the beginning of the season, everything was in line. I mean, you see how they came out the first game.
You could probably have Minka and Jeff Simmons for the same relative price tag as what maybe one Max Crosby would cost. I bet you.
It wasn't because of Michael was wrong, because we played pretty good without Michael.
Assuming Max is 2-1s, you could send the same 2-1s and probably get the 2-1s plus to have Jeff Simmons. Like, you shouldn't have to trade a first round pick for Minka Parsons or Minka Fitzpatrick. Is never going to be the case. But point being, I saw that in the comments there. Minka and Jeff, they have the ability to bring in much more than just one. So I like where your head's at, and that's what Jerry Jones is teasing right now. So Max Crosby a 1 and change. Minka probably a round 3 pick, just straight up, maybe 3 and change, and a pick swap on day 3 or something like that. Jeff Simmons is probably a 2nd round pick.
Did you feel that Jerry took too much heat, or do you feel that it was appropriate? Every decision that Jerry Jones makes, he's going to get some heat, regardless of if it's good.
Every decision Jerry Jones makes is going to get some heat. Yeah, we know that.
From a business standpoint,
when you're the biggest, the brand, the number one sports franchise in the world, you obviously have the largest fan base as well. When you have the largest fan base, you got the most bad apples. So yeah, but the point being is, regardless of whether or not the Cowboys are doing well, there's always 31 other fan bases, the entire rest of the world, that's going to pray and pride themselves on seeing the Cowboys suck. You know, because failure resonates more with the masses, but there's always going to be more people that want to see the Cowboys lose than there are the fans that want to see them win. If that makes sense. You need Ware on staff? Shoot. If Cowboys fans had it their way, Tony Romo would be the quarterback's coach. Sean Lee would be the linebackers coach. DeMarcus Ware would probably be the defensive coordinator. Jason Witten would coach tight ends. Troy Aikman would be the GM. And maybe they'd sign me as an analyst or something. I'd love to just be a fly on the wall at some point. Just let me be in the war room one time. Let me in there.
When you're looking for character,
Bradley Chubb, Nick Fitzpatrick, and Devontae Sweat is probably who we get. You think all 3 of those people? They find a way to get all 3 of those guys, man. That'd be quite the sight.
not one time.
Yeah, quite the staff. But the problem is that the coaching lifestyle, the hours relative to the pay, relative to your job security and your family, how it impacts all that. Traveling all the time, not sleeping, not making the money that you deserve. It's not a lifestyle when you're compared to, say, somebody like Tony Romo, who's got the most cush job in all of America. He's golfing 6 days a week, and then he's in the booth on the 7th, just talking about football. So making 8 times as much as he would ever make as a coach.
Never. It's not in their makeup.
I missed that last part. I'm not sure what he's referring to now.
And I'm saying that because it was that's pretty obvious.
Audio still good?
We're not talking to Marcus Ware when we're talking about another player. We're not talking Michael Irvin. We're not talking. These guys burn. They lay away.
Left my mic stand at home.
Michael told
Tough
me a
scene.
story. He said Alvin Harper went across the middle against way years ago against San Francisco.
Ronnie Lotto, of course.
Ronnie, and went across the middle. Right before it was done, Michael told him, "Now be a man and head out across that middle and don't you flinch." Now that sounds like taking away something from Alvin Harper. But 2 and 3 years before that, when Alvin was a young player,
Simmons, Crosby,
it was
and
like
Mika, and
that
DeMar being overshown. And
Alvin was asked to go to his
let's just have everybody.
in Tennessee.
Go ahead and tell Jalen Phillips to change his flight from Philly to Dallas. We'll go ahead and bring him in here too. Say screw Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie.
You know, Jerry, you don't put that in the huddle right before you try to make the play. You put that in years. It's putting hay in the barn. So when that huddle against San Francisco, we looked over at Alvin Harper and said,
I'd be shocked if one of the Jets' 3 defensive line members that we have discussed isn't a Dallas Cowboy. If one of the Raiders, Bengals, or Titans defensive line players that we've discussed isn't a Cowboy, if one of those, some combination of those or more, and then obviously the Dolphin situation, Bradley Chubb and Mickey Fitzpatrick still on the board.
Don't have it and you pay the high.
If one or more of those guys is in a Dallas Cowboy, I'll be shocked. But it's not because of what Jerry just said today. Obviously, you guys know like the track record, the recent history of our conversations that we've been having on every platform. Really breaking it down leading up to this point since after week 3 when we began saying change must come. It has to because they can't continue leaving their offense out to dry like this. Can't waste an offense this caliber when you've got that much money invested, not just for players, but for the coaching staff, right? Brian Schottenheimer's contract lines up with that 4-year window that all of their premium talent is currently extended and signed under at this point. So it's not even so much as the defense is so bad this year. They'd be adding anyway. They'd be bolstering anyway because of the window. You're going to see a difference in philosophy. We just explained how the recent history or the track record is different. Not just what they're doing, but what they're saying. Stephen Jones ain't saying we like our guys right now because he doesn't.
And he got influenced with Michael and what have you. On Friday afternoons, it would look like they too were
I'm perplexed by that too, Gunblade. I'll just leave it at that.
They'd be fighting and working so hard. And
Jeff Simmons is he's a tier above Quentin Williams in my opinion. You don't hear a lot of people. I don't know if anybody has mentioned that, but he moves at a different. His havoc rate is just different. His violence is different. His I see a more explosive player, man, and it's more relentless, more violent with his hands. It's just a different energy with Jeff. A loss is bad math. That's the question. So that's the thing. Let's add the caveat right now, Mr. P&L. I'm with you. So I know what should happen. I know what they're trying to make happen. But what I don't know is how much does a loss tonight change that? Because then you're looking at versus 4-4, you're looking at 3-5-1, a bye week, the Raiders, and then the Eagles coming up, and then it's your gauntlet after that. But assuming a win tonight, assuming a win in 2 weeks against the Raiders, you're talking about being 5-4-1 with a date with the Eagles on deck. And as we know, at home in general, but any matchup against the Eagles is a winnable game for this Cowboys team so long as number 4 is upright. So it's too early to quit, man. You can't quit because if you quit and you say that your picks are more valuable for you next year or this year than a player is this year, then you're automatically accepting and suggesting that 2026 should be a punt as well. Because the problem is people fail to consider, amid all their frustration as a result of the Cowboys' failure, which is warranted, right? You have the right to be frustrated. But the problem is we lose logic when we suggest that draft picks are more valuable than proven commodities. Because draft picks are not proven commodities. There's no guarantees. And so to suggest hold on to the picks for what? All right, so Jim Johnson says this is the perfect segue.
But there's nobody
We will do enough to be 8-9 and have a mid-round pick. You're going to have a mid-round pick anyway, just because of how good this offense is. But here's the thing, okay? Let's say they do try. They do swing. A big swinging free agent or trade asset comes in here. Say it's Jeff or Max or Trey or whoever, okay? One of those guys comes in. The Cowboys still only win 8 or 9 games. Guess what? Jeff Simmons or Trey Hendrickson, because if you sign him, you're extending him. Max Crosby, all those guys are better and more valuable than any amount of draft picks that you could have saved on into your situation next year. You're taking the proven product. So if you're saying don't spend the picks now, it's not worth it now, then you're telling me that next year they're not valuable either. You're telling me that Max Crosby doesn't help you next year, and that's a damn lie. You're telling me that Jeff Simmons doesn't help you next year, and that's a lie. You're suggesting that proven game-breaking veterans are worse for you than a potential 2026 first-round draft pick. You're crazy. It is literal lunacy to suggest that a first-round draft pick is more valuable to you than if that first-round draft pick is the difference of having or not somebody like Max Crosby, Jeff Simmons, Trey Hendrickson. I'll say the names over and over and over again. The point is, no rookie is worth that. And even if they are, they're usually not worth that until 2 years down the line. And by that point, your 4-year window that all your top talent is currently signed and extended under is expired. By the time the guys that y'all are suggesting save the picks for 2026, by the time they're ready to contribute, you're resetting your window and all the talent that goes with it. Let's move it back outside. 1 second. The vibes are high. I'll tell you that much. I know a lot of people don't have faith, and I don't mean to get animated, but I can't help it. I can't help it when I do, just because of how so falsely conditioned we are as fans to think that everything that the front office tells us or sells us is true. And it's just simply not. So you're telling me, like, are we all in agreement that this offense that's lined up, let's just say under a 4-year window, let's continue along that talking point. So you really have until about 2029. Dak, CD, Shoddy, assuming Pickens gets extended here. And if he's not extended, he's still franchise tagged well into next year. So you're going to run it back with the same set of skill talent, of offensive personnel next season. Why do I assume, first of all, why do I quit in 2025? Especially if quitting in 2025 also means that I'm not maximizing 2026. Why am I doing that? Why am I thinking that way? If I'm already so indebted and deeply invested into the core talent that currently persists, why am I punting on that? And that's you're right, Stanford. That's the key, man. And I'm just being me. I can't do anything else. Okay, so once again, Mr. P&L, need a pair of trades to fix the defense. One guy won't do it. We could argue that one guy has already proven that it could do it in the form of Micah Parsons, right? And yes, the Cowboys still have their shortcomings stopping the run, but just defensive EPA per play, Micah's tenure in Dallas was number 1 versus number 32 with and without. The splits are undeniable, okay? But let's just bypass that for a second. Let's say that that's not the case. And let's say that the Cowboys, as presently constructed with only a difference-making edge or a pass rusher like Micah, are still having the same problems in the playoffs because they probably would. You got to be able to you win up the middle. You got to be able to stop the run. You got to earn the right to rush the passer, right? We know this. We know these things. One guy, it's not just one guy, right? It's a couple guys in-house getting healthy. Young, very promising, very exciting, very game-breaking, potentially, players. DeMarvin Overshown, Simone Rebel Jr. Free agency, that still exists. That doesn't go anywhere. That doesn't end tomorrow just because the trade deadline does. Okay, and then you've got the trade deadline. So we're talking about potentially, let's just say, in theory, right? Stephon Gilmore for a bag of chips. Eric Kendricks for a bag of chips. Asante Samuel Jr. for maybe 3 bags of chips. You still got the second most salary cap space right now. All right, that's just free agency. That's 3 guys right there. 3 is more than 1. DeMarvin Overshown, Savone Rebel Jr., Perion Winfrey, getting Malik Hooker back, getting Donovan Wilson back sooner rather than later. Jack Sanborn coming back, better than Kenneth Murray stopping the run. Believe it or not, I know, crazy. That's way more than 1. We're like at 6 or 7 now. We have a little bit of a philosophical switch to where we see a little bit more man coverage, a little bit more aggressive when dialing up pressures with more than just a 4-man front. You might be a little bit better. So now we're talking about a philosophical switch or a shift from Matt Eberflus just adjusting the system to the personnel as opposed to vice versa. You've got a handful of guys that are injured that are coming back in-house already before you even have to do anything, spend any single dollar. But then you can go spend a couple dollars, a couple bags of chips to get some of the free agent guys that we just mentioned, and that doesn't even begin to mention what they have because of 4 first-round draft picks, more so than any other team in the National Football League over the next 2 years, what they can be afforded the ability to do in in the trade market prior to tomorrow's deadline. So it's not just one guy. You can trade for more than just one guy, but then we can add in tenfold that one that you suggest when we start to factor in every single pillar of team building. There's more than just one pillar. And those other 2 pillars don't end tomorrow. One of them does, but not all 3 of them do. So I'm not sure what our comp is saying. If 2 firsts are needed, what is the most favorable 2 to give for Dallas? Do you mind elaborating on that? I'm not sure if I'm processing what you're saying accurately, and I want to make sure that I do that. Okay, I think we're back live in here. Let me make the transition back. We're just out here sticking and moving, man. 77 people up in here. I saw we had peaked at 100 a second ago. Make sure that we're expanding the sports below the surface truth for the true fan, for the boy, by hitting the like button for me. Thank you guys very much. I'll try to find my way back up here. He's back. 80. We're just setting up shop here at the bar at Texas Live, just freaking making moves, man. Doing the best I can.
I mean, it's a classic place where if you're struggling, the stuff is
Stephen A. back on the mic.
It's going to be all right. Look at the facilities that are there. Look at the quality of life that are there. Look at the hotels that are there. Look at what I call home. Is it possible, Jerry, that the reason why a championship has been so
that right there
for so long
my house was not a pleasant place to be when I remembered coming home from my daughter's soccer game right as the Texas game was beginning on Saturday, that ABC was in bed with ESPN and that I had to make some things happen real quick to be able to watch my team play. I can't stand that crap, but it is what it is, man. I feel you. Let's see what Jerry says.
People's sons in this room have played football, and brothers in this room. And a lot of people's dads in this room have played the game. The game has been around Texas.
Don't worry, it's not nicotine.
I'm not going to spend a lot of our time saying football is unnatural.
Whoop.
Football causes you to have to crawl on yourself. It's not like going out and playing catch, baseball, shooting baskets. And I love all the competition in tennis. Football causes you to have to go do something that is unnatural. Get in front of 300, not get out of 300. That's why, having said that, I have never worried about something nice jacking with the hearts of men that have pulled themselves up and then defied.
Football is unnatural.
I don't think they're that fragile. I don't think their hearts are that fragile. Personally,
while we're just taking a break, listening to Jerry talk, other forums to support the show, support the movement, support this platform.
my 2-a-days today. And I
You can bypass the 30% hit that or the clip that YouTube takes, and you can donate to support the channel right there.
You got the lowest tolerance for pain of any kid we've ever had at this school. And I'd say, well, his name was Brownie. I'd say, well, Brownie, I deserve a medal. It hurts me more than it hurts this guy. You know, it's just a guy. My point is, instead of that, what happened?
Jerry drinking an orange Sunkist on set. A diet Sunkist.
When we practiced, there would be 2,000 people sitting 15 feet from us. 2,000 would be sitting out on the grass and all that. And I mean, when you walked up there and got your
wide open in the sea, that's true. Lions and Packers each just lost yesterday. Commanders are down for the count. And prayers up, by the way, prayers up and a speedy recovery to Jaden Daniels. That was a nasty injury last night on primetime. They're leaving the window open potentially for him to come back and play again this season, but still never want to see a star player like that in primetime have something like that happen. Remind him, it's just an instant flashback to 2020 Week 5 when we know how Dak's day ended that day.
Which is the biggest one in the world. The stadium was not built for all of us to go into.
Deadline 4 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Thank you, Sam, man. Appreciate that, man. Life is good right now, dude. There's everybody's happy and healthy at home. Our family feels complete. We'll see what God has in store moving forward. Whether or not we have a fourth, it's not in my hands or in my control, really. But we're just taking it day by day, man. Trying to live in the moment, and so far it's been working really well. We're having a blast with it. 3 kids, ages 3 and under, it ain't for the weak. But tell you what, man, I'm working on me in the process, or at least the kids themselves are working on me, making me a more patient person. 4 p.m. Eastern, that's correct. Julio, appreciate you chiming in on that question too. Johnny Walker Blue, baby, they got some up there right now, I'm sure. I got here a little later than I wanted to, so I didn't really have the luxury of getting to a table to where I can make my setup a little bit more traditional, but I don't mind not sitting. Yep. He's the greatest showman, man. He's always gonna put the show before anything else. Thank y'all for the love still, the continued support. I appreciate it. One day at a time, man. Step by step. There is no me without you. So just keep that in mind too.
When I started seeing them have the haircut barber there, I was like, what are they doing? But then I see them there at 7 o'clock at night. I see them there at 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now. Thanks for clarifying our comp. So out of the 4 firsts, they're unpredictable, right? Because it all depends on how deep of a run you make and where you ultimately end up getting eliminated from. So the Packers won for this year, at least, seems to be less valuable than the Cowboys won this year for right now. But it's too early to make any definitive statements as far as what a team is, what they're going to be, how deep of a run that they're going to make, where their ultimate first-round pick is going to end up being. But teams, to answer your question, the Cowboys first would technically be more valuable in a trade as a trade asset than the Packers first, if that makes sense. So the Cowboys pick is going to be somewhere in the middle as of right now. Like, it's logical to presume that the Cowboys won this year ends up somewhere between picks 13 and 18. Whereas the Packers first is most likely going to end up somewhere in the late 20s or early 30s. And then next year is obviously still up in the air as well. The 2027 ones are less. It's less of a debate as far as like which one is more like. Whoever is shipping a player off to the Cowboys is going to be lobbying for the 2026 one to be the Cowboys one and not the Packers one, because those teams would be wise to bank on the Packers situation. Their potential playoff run to be deeper than the Cowboys' potential playoff run. So the Cowboys' first-round pick is going to be higher, most likely. That's what if you're a team sending a player to the Cowboys, that's what you're thinking. That has to be your thought process.
Let me say this to you about the media. Some people in the media are idiots. That's true. But the other big word is coward. What I mean by that is this.
It's a lot of power on that stage right there, huh?
Jones, we was at Disney up front.
Marcus Ware,
I walked right up to him.
Michael Irvin,
Because I've been talking about him.
Jerry Jones, and Stephen A.
So
Smith.
I didn't go up to him. You see what I'm saying? Because my whole point is
The greatest showman, P.T. Barnum.
What you doing talking about people for, and you have no desire to go inside the locker room to meet them face to face, man to man.
How are we feeling about the game tonight, by the way?
This is where I stand.
I took a step back these past couple weeks, just trying to settle in with the new family dynamic, and obviously just having a newborn, things have to take precedent over business, right? So I've just kind of kicked back and enjoyed myself with the fam the last few days. Haven't really been staying up till 2 a.m., grinding away, working the way that I otherwise would be, but we're getting back into that groove right now. So the point is I haven't discussed this particular matchup prior to the bye with you guys. Just want to know what the general pulse was. With or without trades, where we at on tonight's matchup? We'll obviously pick back up, hit the ground running right where we left off post-bye. So during the bye week and then post-bye. So we'll be back in black. All for the clicks. Yeah, I mean, the master salesman is going to do whatever he's got to do. In other words, have a date with Stephen A. Smith the day before the NFL trade deadline, but he's already told us he all but said not one, but two. 35-31, yes. And so I think the line closed at, 52? Or it's not closed yet, but 52.5, I think, was the point total the last time I looked.
Because the standard is what puts you here. The standard is what
it's either the highest point, projected implied total or tied for the highest with, I believe,
we got to add that.
What was the other one? Maybe Bengals Bears. I know Bengals Bears was up there. That one sure didn't disappoint, did it?
We got to add all of that. Why? Because there's a standard that over the last 29 years has not been met by the very people
not yet what?
Who contributed to setting it. That's not the media's problem.
No, hey, listen. No disrespect to anybody or to Clarence. I get them wrong. I've gotten them. I told y'all I was the one that sat here stone cold and bold-faced lied when I said, or I didn't lie. I didn't think I was lying at the time. Micah Parsons ain't going nowhere. You don't trade a player like that, but they did it. All right. Everybody called me a liar, including Clarence Hill, when they said there's no shot in hell and a snowball's chance in hell if the Cowboys are taking an offensive lineman at 12. Me, Botch Lombardi, and Lou's Takes, both of those guys were featured on my channel prior to the draft. We broke it all down, and it was a three-man fight. All right, so point being, Clarence doesn't even know necessarily. And that's not a shot on Clarence at all. That's just the truth. I'm trying to get you to understand. I don't care what anybody says because the general public, the masses, would have tried to tell me in the past that I was wrong and I've been right. And I don't care about being right. I just care about reporting the objective truth, and that's what we do here. The objective truth is the equation, the current situation, relative to two-thirds of the two of the three phases. And on top of that, the resources that the Cowboys presently have available to spend, but also the resources that they have allocated into their current center, the core of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball, including the head coach. It's never been a more perfect storm to do the things that we're discussing here. That's why we began discussing them a month and a half ago. It's breadcrumbs and tea leaves, man. It's due diligence. It doesn't require. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm not some genius I'm not on uncharted territory. All I'm doing is talking objectively. My process usually leads me down a correct path. And that's why we're here today. You don't fake 85,000. And I appreciate y'all. Once again, there is no me without you. That's facts. That's facts, Jim. The objective truth is you can't predict Jerry. But the other objective truth in that discussion is that Jerry ain't really the one making the call. He's the one making the greatest show happen, the greatest showman, P.T. Barnum, and he's given the final nod of approval, technically. But talent acquisition, team building, this is Steven's show. This is Will's show. This is the pro scouting department. This is not Jerry. Jerry doesn't know how to make this defense better. He don't know the first thing about it. He knows, and he's selling, and he's been told, we're going to do things differently on defense tonight. That's what the defensive coordinator is telling the head coach, what the head coach is telling the front office, the pro scouting department, what the front office, the pro scouting department is telling Jerry Jones. Hey, Jerry, it's going to be different. But Jerry doesn't know how to tell you what to look for. In the same discussion, he doesn't know how to go about finding the talent that fits best and for what price. Steven is driving the ship right now. Steven is not saying the things that he used to say anymore. He doesn't talk about we like our guys. He hasn't said that. Why? Because he doesn't. Do you and I like safety 5, 6, 7, and 8 on the Cowboys roster? No. Does Steven? No. Does Steven like Sam Williams playing edge and not setting the edge? No. Does Steven like Kenneth Murray Jr. wearing the green dot and playing the most significant snaps for the linebacker situation? No. Because Kenneth Murray Jr. doesn't know what he's seeing. He looks like he doesn't know how to play football half the time, guys. Let's just be honest. Kyer Elam has no idea what he's doing relative to his particular run fit on any particular play. But we still want to. We just want to. The only thing that we know to talk about still is Mazi Smith. Like it's Mazi's fault.
And we stay controversial.
It's a harmonious effort for everybody on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the run game. But as far as communication and stopping the pass goes, there's a stubbornness that has to happen. That has to change from either field. But when you got safeties 4, 5, 6, and 7 playing, you got guys off the street, Reddy Stewart and Traquez Bridges, and Zion Childress, gets cut, gets re-signed, gets poached, gets re-signed. It's like, man, we got UDFAs that were having wrestling matches with teams in Houston for, because we're that desperate.
I don't think it's kept us from having a football player. I don't think it's ever kept us from having a financial wherewithal to get a good football player. As a matter of fact, I will tell you that no, we don't have.
Why Maris Leofau isn't getting more snaps than he's currently getting makes no sense to me, man. That's one of the bigger mysteries of the season so far.
Along those lines, if you think that I haven't had time to do it,
That diet Sunkiss, man.
I know it was. That's what I really the minute I look at it. So I've got to say this to you. I know we get our butt kicked. I know we're controversial from time to time. I know that's a fact. But it was not screwed in any way with making a touchdown, making a tackle, or running the football.
I got you. Jerry Jones, DeMarcus Ware, the playmaker, Mike Murray. Great deal. Right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, 267 Last segment of the show. Up next after this break. Don't go away. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show in the house.
Got one more segment. Let's take a few more questions. We'll head back outside for this one. They better put me on stage next while I'm here. I might as well. 1 for the money, 2 for the show. Nah. One of these days, we'll do it our way. On a similar level, but in a much different venue. And we'll continue speaking the truth, man. No fake takes around here. No, what do you call it? No surface level analysis here. At least we try to refrain from doing those things. Too many excuses for Mazi. He's been awful since the start. He has. I can't dispute that. But I can easily paint the picture of he's playing, which in my opinion, before we even had this year as a sample size for Mazi Smith, okay? I'm obviously one of the more outspoken on his behalf. But it has more to do with the difficulty of the position that he plays and less to do with him and what he's been tasked with. I could very easily make the case that Mazi Smith would be a suitable candidate for any particular, like, let's just say, whoever the best defensive line developer in the National Football League is currently. Maybe somebody over there on the West Coast, perhaps. You would never trade Mazi Smith to a team like the Niners, or at least you would hope. Or sorry, let me just rephrase that, because we just watched Micah Parsons go to Green Bay. So apparently anything goes. But the point is, I wouldn't have to try very hard to imagine somebody still seeing something enough in Mazi Smith to say, yeah, we could see that being a pot sweetener. I know that sounds crazy, guys. I know it does. I think my second or third to last tweet was a clip of him last night. Just kind of, I was scrubbing through some of his film so far this season, and it's so frustrating with him because you'll see plays like the one that I posted where he is just on time. The pad level is right, and he's so powerful when he plays with quality pad level. When his body's more at a 45-degree angle as opposed to like upright like this, he's powerful, man. He's strong. I remember the story. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole again, but the weight room manufacturers at Michigan had to come in and re-weld their push-pull machine so that it could carry 200 pounds beyond what the manufacturer of the machine, the push-pull machine, it's a test of true power, what they thought was possible. It capped at 600. They had to weld the bar so that it could extend to hold 200 more pounds. So two more 45-pound plates and change on each side. Because of what they thought was possible, Mazi surpassed that by 200 pounds. It's an insane story. College football's freaks list. Bruce Feldman had him number 1. His draft eligible season. The reality is he's playing a different position than he played in college. He's on his third coordinator in 3 years, and he's also been tasked with another full-time job of losing 30 pounds in the process. Maybe they got the evaluation wrong. He wasn't a first-round caliber talent, but maybe, just maybe, we think of him a little bit differently if he was in a little bit different of a system. That's all I'm going to say. Aaron Whitecotton was I just realized I didn't take that off the screen. My apologies, y'all. I have to have a ticker rolling the whole time while I'm trying to have discourse with you guys. Aaron Whitecotton was clearly emphatic about Mazi whenever he got to Dallas. He obviously has flashes, but the frustrating thing with him is that he'll flash one play, he'll get off on time with the proper pad level and leverage and blow somebody off the football. And the very next play, he'll be the last one to fire off the football. He'll stand straight up, and then he'll get creased and just absolutely dog-walked. But this position takes so long to develop that you shouldn't give up on him. And if the Cowboys do, another team probably shouldn't either. But trading him wouldn't be giving up on him. It would just be saying, hey, let's take this asset. Let's package him up with something else that's of value to somebody else. And let's improve our roster. Let's elevate the floor. Does Jalen Tolbert appease anybody? I don't know. I said I'd be shocked if truly, I wouldn't be shocked. I would be surprised. My eyes would open like this. I would say, And then I'd probably it would take some time for me to think about it, to ponder. I'd go back and watch more film, and I'd be like, yeah, I can see that. Jalen Tolbert being a guy who is at the very least a good teammate. He understands situationally where to be, has good relationships with his quarterbacks, but he's a willing blocker in the running game. If that's Jalen Tolbert, then he's a serviceable wide receiver 4 or wide receiver 5 for somebody that may need a body. Right now, the Cowboys have obviously their top 2, and it's Kevontae Turpin. They have Ryan Flournoy. They also have Jonathan Mingo, who's a mystery at this point still, but reasonable depth. Depth at a position of strength that could help supplement clear positions or areas of weakness elsewhere. Let's go catch the tail end of this last segment here, and then we'll keep sticking and moving accordingly. We're almost an hour in, man. Time is flying when you're having fun. Any other questions for me that you guys have? Let's try to knock those out too. See, there you go, David. Listen. As many people that aren't driving or otherwise preoccupied right now that could look at their screen, look at our screen, and see what David just said that I have highlighted at the bottom of your screen right now is case in point for why holding on to your picks in general, when you could add talent like the talent that is reportedly being shopped right now, but also when you have an offense like this one, and all the reasons, all the things that we've discussed in this live stream so far, holding on to your picks is foolish. The players that you could trade your picks for don't have to contribute just this season. So yes, it's foolish to quit on this season right now in general. But if you don't trade picks for players like the ones that are reportedly being available right now, you're also quitting on 2026 as well. Because every potential asset that could be acquired is under contract for years beyond 2025. Trey Hendrickson is the lone exception. You would have to negotiate with him twice. Negotiate to acquire, negotiate to keep and extend. But if you make the trade for Trey Hendrickson, that point goes out the window anyway, because you're not trading for a half-season rental. The same way the Cowboys weren't trading for a full one-season rental with George Pickens. They'd made that trade with the intent to extend. What's Diggs worth? I don't know the answer to that question. I think Jalen Tolbert could help somebody. Could help elevate the floor of a playoff contending team and be an upgrade at wide receiver 4. So maybe you get a pick back for Jalen Tolbert. Maybe he's not included in a package that you're trading picks to acquire somebody else for. Maybe Jalen Tolbert goes to a contender on the AFC side of things. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. We'll go look for a better spot over here so that you guys can hear the punchline, because I got a feeling Jerry's going to say something as he exits the building today. How's it going, man? What's up, brother? Doing well. Excuse me. Come say what's up in a minute if you can, if you still got time.
As a matter of fact, you can't play at your best.
Got my hands full. I can't shake people's hands right now, so I feel bad. It does feel a little silly, I will admit, walking around with a laptop, a microphone, and a wire just hanging down all the way to my ankles right here. But hey, man, we do what needs to be done. Jerry's mic isn't as hot as I feel like it probably should be right now. He can't help himself, no. We dang sure can't do that. Stay close to the mic, Jerry. Can't hear you, man. There you go, Chris. You're not crazy, man. Y'all bear with me. I'm scoping out a spot where I can go set up shop again and still have a decent situation. That way, y'all can hear the closing remarks. I might just pay somebody to let me sit at their table. I think I found a spot. Now Stephen A's he's so shook he's not even talking into the mic himself right now. Doing the best I can, Turtle. Thanks for being here, man. Grab the backpack real quick. Be right back. All right, we're back. Trying to listen to everything that he's saying because the audio is still not great. They're not talking into the mics very well. Stephen A. is asking him a pretty pressing question. Something to do with how do you feel about experts telling you what you should or shouldn't do? He's thinking. He's thinking. You can tell he's talking softly. He's not. This is real Jerry Jones right now. I'm having trouble making out what he's saying. Wish they'd fix the audio. Make that mic hot, baby. The white cotton tie matters a little bit. The ties with the front office over there in New Orleans, and Mickey Loomis, he's got familiarity with the front office. Maybe that makes some sense. Obviously, the Cowboys are no stranger to doing business with the teams like the Raiders, right? The Davis family and Jones family obviously go way back. But yeah, the good news is most of these teams that are selling players, at least that the Cowboys fans themselves are interested in, are all on the AFC side of things. So they're on the complete separate side of the conference or of the playoff picture, which bodes well for getting a potential deal done. Now we got some semantics going on here, using props to talk about contracts. Somebody give me a dang VIP pass, man. I apologize, y'all. All right, well, that's gonna do it for the Stephen A. Smith show. That doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna do it for the Lando show. So what you got to take away, the biggest takeaway from this, Jerry seemed to imply or indicate that not one but two deals were potentially already done, just all but done. At least we'll say it that way. Any other questions I can answer, y'all let me know real quickly. I'll take the next couple minutes here to answer give some closing thoughts, I guess. But how much does tonight's outcome impact the ultimate decision? That's the only thing that I can't necessarily answer right now. All right. You know what? The music back loud the way that it is. I'm going to go see if I can just walk around here and maximize the rest of my time before I got to roll. Just interact with some more people in person and shake hands with people. Just engage with the community, man. That's one of my favorite parts about my job and what I do. Ways that you guys in here that can check in with me and just keep tabs on our analysis and our evaluation of just everything that's going on and unfolding, not just throughout the rest of today, but through the game tonight, and then all morning, all afternoon, all evening tomorrow, and then reacting to everything that happens actually at the deadline on Tuesday. At the Lando Show on all platforms, especially right here for more in-person discussions, answering questions and things like that, live settings just like this one or otherwise, as well as a bunch of all 22 analysis, just kind of showing you guys some of the things that are actually plaguing this roster, this team on the field, with some analysis there. But then Instagram as well, creatively conveying what we talk about in long form and what we discuss on Twitter for platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Just making sure that we're answering as many questions as possible, but giving the objective sports below the surface truth for the true fan, with the emphasis, of course, on the Cowboys, the Longhorns, but sports in general. So all we got to do now, I mean, really, there's nothing else for us to do but sit back and wait. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the greatest show that just concluded for this one. Monday Night Football tonight, the narratives, the storylines, the talking points, they never die, but especially Monday Night Football leading in directly to the trade deadline. Cowboys hold, they control their own destiny. Player wish list, man, Jeff Simmons is an impact player on the interior. Max Crosby goes without stating. Trey Hendrickson, lethal weapon off the edge in both regards, pass and the run. Mika Fitzpatrick, I think, changes everything on the third level for you. He gives you IQ, run support, but also coverage ability. More of like it's a 3-time All-Pro that we're talking about, guys. Still do it at a high level. Julio, thank you, man. Thank you for being here. Yeah, they were. They definitely were. It's like a lunchroom scene in the cafeteria. I think Max Crosby by himself would probably be like that would be the ultimate dream come true scenario for this team. Say any combination of say Jeff Simmons and a linebacker in free agency alongside DeMarvion Overshown would be a home run. I would say any combination featuring one of the Jets edge rushers, Will McDonald IV, Jermaine Johnson, and Minka Fitzpatrick would be awesome. I think Bradley Chubb and Minka Fitzpatrick would also be awesome. Maybe just below that Jeff Simmons tier with a linebacker or something to that tune. You could probably get a 36-year-old Demario Davis for literally pennies on the dollar relative to premium draft capital. So that should probably be of consideration regardless of what happens at the top with the premier tier 1 players that we're discussing here. I like that order too. All right, y'all. On the way out, make sure that if you haven't already, hit that like button for me. Let's continue growing this platform. I'll continue putting the work in to the best of my ability for you. But until then, man, enjoy the show tonight. Ask me questions on Twitter. Stay in constant communication because you guys are really the reason why I'm here, of course. But it's also you help me brainstorm. You give me ideas. You challenge my current set of my thought process in general. But then you also help me think outside of the box and you tell me what I need to do a better job of explaining, if nothing else. Right. So I can't do this without you. That's what I got to get you to understand. But thank you for being here. Remember that prayer changes things and the war's already won. I'll talk to you guys soon.